Hi, Ben Johnson here with High Tech Friday. This week we take a look at infographics, specifically tips and tricks on assigning them for classroom projects. If you're not familiar with infographics yet, they're simply an educational poster that students can make on any topic or any topic that you assign. They've become hugely popular this school year, it seems. A lot of teachers are replacing their old traditional reports and presentations with infographics. So how can you be successful with infographics? Got these 5 steps that I think will help people get started. First step is to find a lesson plan. There's really no need to reinvent the wheel. If you do a Google search on 27 Epic EDU Canva lesson plans, it will take you to this Pinterest page where you will find 27 epic infographic lesson plans. They're written for Canva, but there's no reason you couldn't use these with other infographic sites like piktochart. Anyways, browse through here. You'll find that they're on all subject areas and many topics. Find one that you like, click on it. It will pull up the lesson plan that is pretty thorough, written by a real teacher. You may need to adapt it a bit for the specific assignment that you have, but it's a good starting place. Next, after you find a lesson plan, assign that assignment via the Google Classroom. It's going to be a really efficient way for you to collect those papers from students. Now, before you do that, go ahead and make a blank template where students will be able to paste the URL of their infographic. So for instance, here I've made a Google Doc called Infographic Assignment, paste URLs below. This will get distributed to each student, and that when they're finished they'll just simply paste their URL below. You'll be able to grade that with a rubric that I'll show you in that 5th step. Alright, so if you've not used the Google Classroom, you'll just want to sign up for classroom.google.com, give your students the code, they'll enroll in that class, and then as the teacher you simply make an assignment, and I'll just call this infographic, and this is where you attach the Google Doc that you've made for students ahead of time. So I'll just pull that up. And the key here is you want to make a copy for each student and then simply assign that. And that's just going to give them a Google Doc where they'll click, open that up. They're going to paste the URL of their finished infographic on that. You'll be able to grade that with octopusgoober, and that will attach that finished rubric onto the bottom of their assignment. So a very slick way to accept these papers. Next, you're going to want to give students some class time to work on it. I'd say like a 90-minute block period, 2 45-minute traditional periods. No matter which infographic site you use, the clip art is limited unless you want to pay for it. So for that reason, I would tell students in advance to go ahead and find graphics to use. And so I'll just go through that. Of course, Google is usually the first place students will turn, although there's lots of free copyright-friendly sites. But just if they were going to use Google, they would just search for that topic that they're interested, go to images. Now many of these are copyright protected, so a lot of students don't know they can go to search tools and do usage rights labeled for reuse, non-commercial reuse. So you can go ahead and pick those, and that's going to limit to copyright friendly pictures, many of them from Wikipedia. Students then can click on that picture, visit this page to cite the source, which is Wikipedia, and then when they're ready to save the image, they'll just go ahead and view that image, right click, and save the image to their desktop or some other location where they can quickly find that. But I would encourage students to go out ahead of time and find those images before they begin, because otherwise they'll have to pay for the clip art within Canva, and then piktochart just doesn't have an extensive clip art library. In addition to giving them time to find pictures, you'll need to give them some time to actually go into Canva or piktochart and make the graphic. So I'll just go into Canva quickly. I like it because it automatically resizes the images to match what's on the placeholder. Now, why do you want to use these websites? Well, sadly, a lot of us aren't talented graphic artists, and so these templates are made by professionals. They look really nice, and so for the rest of us, we've got a great solution. So these are some of the default ones. I'll click on more. Students can scroll through and find a style that they like, and even if it's labeled real estate flyer, it doesn't mean they have to make a real estate flyer. It's just going to include some templates that they can pick from. And so here they can scroll through these, find a particular graphic that they like, and then they're simply going to replace the pictures and text with their own pictures and text. Now before they do that, they'll want to go to uploads and upload the images that they just saved during the first step. So for instance, here's that train, and that's going to add that down here to the library of images. And then to replace these images, students can just simply drag and drop, and it will take over the place of the image that was on the template, which is really nice. It resizes it. Piktochart, you have to manually do that, and then I can repeat that with these other images that I have also. So this is just finishing up, so grab some of my other images, and these are just sample images that I'm just using for demo purposes. Of course your students would want to use actual image they find. Now the filters get automatically applied, which is nice. I don't have to reset that. And then I can simply replace the placeholder text with my own text. And this is where the students would go out and do some research. Now if students need an extra page, because it wouldn't all fit on this first page, they can just click on add a new page, and now they have a second page to put some more of their narrative. So I would suspect that most students will need a second page to publish some of their research findings, and they would just click that, and it's just going to give them a second page. Now to turn that in, students are going to just simply click on that share button and grab that link. It's at the bottom here, so sorry, share, and then grab that link. They're just going to copy that, go into the Google Classroom, click on that Google Doc, and then just simply paste that address onto the Google Doc, which will then get returned to the teacher. Okay, so Piktochart works very much the same way as Canva. Unfortunately, the pictures, when you drag and drop, don't automatically resize. There's just some manual work that has to happen there. And with both Piktochart and Canva, students should be able to log in with their Google accounts. If not, they can just create one. Here with Piktochart, there's a few styles to choose from. One of the nice things about Piktochart, so you'll pick a style and then scroll down, it will show you all those free themes. While I'm waiting for those to load, I guess the one thing I would mention about Piktochart that's an advantage over Canva is the fact that it does include a lot more charts. And so if you need to put a histogram or a pie chart or a map chart, Piktochart tends to come with those already included, so it's a little more selection of charts than with Canva. And I'm not sure why these are taking so long to load, but I'll just go ahead and pick one that I'm familiar with. So this is Piktochart, and just like Canva, students can upload the images, and I would have them go out and find those in advance. One thing about Piktochart is it doesn't allow images that are larger than 2 megs, and so if you find a really large picture like the train one that I just picked, it may be larger than that, 2 megs, so students may have to find a smaller image. But just like Piktochart, students are going to double click on the things that they want changed, and again, I'm not sure if my computer's having technical difficulties or Piktochart, but these should be pictures. But again, students can then drag and drop those pictures that they've found on their image search into this template. Unlike Canva, they'll have to manually resize those pictures and apply the filters. It doesn't automatically inherit the picture settings of those pictures that are included. Just like Canva, students will be able to publish, not share, but publish, and then publish now, and it's going to give them the same sort of URL that Canva gave. Again, students can copy that, take that into the Google Classroom, paste that onto the Google Doc, and then the teacher will have a way to view and then grade those quickly with the rubric. So back to the spreadsheet. So accept the finished work via the Google Classroom. Okay, now to grade these, what I recommend is that the teacher uses a rubric and then Octopus and Goober to grade those. Now, two great rubric sites, if you're not familiar with those, are Rubistar, and so I'll just pull up one of their rubrics here quickly. The nice thing with Rubistar and the Tech for Learning rubric maker is that they already include rubrics for products, and so I can go to products here, and they have newspaper, poster, brochure, so that you could pick really any of those, and then just so that you can see what that would look like, I'll just go ahead and type in a very short. So now to make the rubric, then you would just pick those different topics that you want to assess students on, and the required elements. You might go ahead and type in here exactly what the objectives were that the students are trying to meet, and that would be the required elements. So this one I would tweak to include the specific goals with your assignment. But again, I can just quickly fill out this rubric without taking a whole lot of time, and then when I'm satisfied, just go ahead and submit that, and that's going to make that rubric. Now this rubric, it turns out I can simply copy and paste that into a Google spreadsheet. So I'll just demonstrate that really quick. So any rubric that I make, whether it's with the Tech for Learning or Rubistar, I can just go ahead and paste that into a spreadsheet, delete the A1 cell, and then I can just go ahead and wrap my text so that it's easier to read. And now I can go ahead and just title this infographic rubric. Now it's beyond the scope of this tutorial to really show you exactly how to do the Octopus and Goober, but I'll just go ahead and show you that you can visit add-ons, and you can do this add-on called Octopus, and you can then launch that add-on. And what this is going to do is allow you to stamp this rubric finished with a grade onto each of those students' Google Docs that they submitted to you via the Google Classroom. And I'll just go ahead and try to run through this real quick. You can just ingest the roster from the Google Classroom, and it's going to go out and find all of your Google classes, and it's going to try to use one that actually has some people in it. I think this is one that does. And then I select an assignment, so I would then select the that particular infographic assignment that I've created, and then I'll just go ahead and ingest that assignment. And on the spreadsheet, it's just going to make another spreadsheet with all of my students, a link to their Google Docs, and this is just a bogus assignment, so I won't really go through this, but at this point you could go ahead and attach the rubric, and I just made one. So I'm not sure if I'm logged in with the wrong account here, but anyway, not to go through all of these steps, but basically what happens is that you get the spreadsheet with all of the students' infographics. You click on them, you're able to open up the infographic, and then using the other part of this tool, which is Rubric, it will actually pull that rubric up on each student's Google Doc, and you'll actually be able to assign the points, and that gets stamped onto the bottom of the student's Google Doc and returned back to the student. It's very slick. And even an assignment like this, say you have 30 students in your class, and you've got 3 classes of that's 90 students. You'll be able to go through this process using Octopus and Goober, and probably grade all 90 of those in pretty short order, because it automatically brings up the next student, and it just gives you a picture of the rubric. You just click on the columns where they belong on each of the rows, and then the students get that returned. So it's a really slick way to grade those rubrics, the infographics. So that's the 5th and final step. Use Octopus and Goober to assess work. If you're not familiar with those, Google this, and there's a lot of nice YouTube videos